Hi, Tony's right. How are you? So this is going to be a companion video to the one I just did, announcing that I'm starting a literary journal, and kind of detailed why it's set up the way, why it's focused on what it's focused on. So it's an African American centric journal, meaning the descendants of United States chattel slavery and United States chattel slaves who have intergenerationally lived in what is now known the United States of America. And I talk about how our unique history within the United States of America, even before United States of America, deserves to have its own kind of space. Even though we are considered Black, we have a very unique position in American society, and it should be explored without being seen as divisive. So there's that. So this video is the stuff that needs to get done and what I'm thinking as far as my vision for it. So like I said in the other video, I knew going into this program that I wanted to start a literary journal, and I knew I wanted to start it centered on African American descendant of United States chattel slaves. Like I knew that that was the center of it, as far as like who I wanted to publish and who I wanted to explore, and culturally what was going on. So decided to do that, and I just knew that that was like pulling me, because I'm getting more into my heritage, and I think I like saying that I'm African American. Yes, I am Black, but I'm African American. And I'll say Black American, but I like African American because it really does. I think in some spaces the Africanness tries to get stripped away from African Americans. That's that's a controversial take for another day. So they say Black American instead. But I am African American, and I just want a space, literary space, that deals with us. Now there are a few literary spaces I think that say African American, but when they say African American, I think they just mean more diasporic, and that's not where I'm going. So my vision for this is to publish poetry, fiction primarily, those two primarily, and then like a little bit of nonfiction. So essentially the 3 tracks that we have in the MFA program. I do want to expand it to other things, potentially reviews or interviews or art gallery type things or something like that, and have other things going on. That would mean it would have to become a certain organization to kind of like build those structures to kind of sustain it. But right now, just submissions taken in, all that kind of stuff. So the vision is to really take in poetry, fiction, nonfiction, and publish those. I am debating if it's going to be quarterly, biannually, bi-monthly. You know, like I'm trying to figure out the frequency, because I'm also recruiting people to do this, and so I need people to want to do this, and I don't think this is going to be like a monthly thing. I think this may be like a quarterly thing, every 6 months type thing, and perhaps that'll make it more meaningful in terms of like submissions and like intake and stuff like that. And so I really want to figure that out. So like, okay, so I have to do that. I have in mind kind of what I want to do in the next like 5 years or so with it, and that will involve community outreach with people. And I think that community outreach with people will have to take precedence so that we get our names out there and people kind of know. The only concern I have is that it's a growing one in many ways, because it centers African Americanness and African Americans. I want to find a space where that is respected. I don't really want to deal with people who find it weird that someone who's African American wants to focus on African Americans. I just, that's a weird thing. I personally am not a flat black person. And what I mean by that is we're just all black and we've all dealt with oppression. And it's like, yes, but that shows up in different ways. And I hate the terms that we do, resistance and liberation. I hate these terms. I find that they're very trite in 2025. But the ways that they are functioning and the ways that they present themselves sometimes have similarities and sometimes they don't. And we have to be okay when they don't. Like, we're not all the same. We're not all doing the same things. We're not all doing the same work. And that should be fine for people. That should be fine for people. But I get the sense, like, in these spaces that, like, people are not okay with that. As much as they like to say we're all together, the actual reality is there's a lot of fragmentation in the world and a lot of splintering of groups in the world. So it's just kind of like finding the people that would best serve like what I'm trying to do and the vision that I have. And so that's just a concern of mine, but I do think going forward with it will like smooth that over, and I think I'll be pleasantly surprised who supports and who doesn't, and pleasantly surprised by the people who do, and more or less like the people who don't, whatever. But yeah, the vision is those 3 categories. The vision is to publish something 2026 instead of 2025, but starting in 2025. I think that perhaps making posts, writing posts and stuff like that will be helpful. I think that being able to talk about how I feel about certain things within the African American context, I think will be freeing for me. And I just feel like there's just someone out there that I'm going to meet that's going to like, thank you, because I like when I try to talk in these certain spaces, like I don't feel like I can talk freely in those spaces. And I just want that to be I just want that to be like the vibe. And like I just feel like it's a good vibe to be able to freely kind of talk about like your culture and where you stand within it and what's important to you and what isn't, So yeah, I'm still working out the kinks of when the frequency of it, but I do know the categories. I do know the categories that I want to include and how it can get bigger and eventually I think be a really good journal. I don't necessarily see it becoming something where it's like millions of people reading it, but if a few thousand people read it every time it's released, I'm happy with that, right? If I get one reader outside of myself, like that's good. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it's good. Like one person who decides to submit, one person who decides to participate and show up. Like if we have an event like that, that's important to me, So the masthead is what's next. So I am in the middle of getting parts because we're just starting off. I think that it will probably be a bare bones. So it'll be like kind of me, the founder, editor-in-chief, the 3 leads for the sections, and then readers under that. And so that makes for 7 people, bare bones minimum, if you're going to do each person as individual. Or it may just be I'm editor-in-chief plus poetry editor plus poetry reader and then someone else, So we have a little bit of flexibility. But I would like an editor and then a reader under that. So at least 2 levels there. And kind of recruit accordingly. So I don't want it highly stratified. There's no board of directors going on here. There's no, like, associate editor and then a main editor and then this editor. It's a very bare bones operation. And so just getting that together is really helpful. So I have never done this before in terms of starting a journal, but the reason why I also waited until this stage is because I ended up working as a teaching assistant for for the digital version of our journal, our main journal. And then this semester I'm doing the print version as a student and learning the back end of that and being on the teams and stuff like that, and like learning how things are being put together helps. I've also been a poetry reader for a minute, and now I'm a poetry reviewer, and that's like a good opportunity. So I slowly have integrated skills from these like positions that I've taken on, and I feel like I can more accurately handle these things. Even just being privy to like certain information about Submittable and what to do and how to like get it going and how to set it up and all the kind of stuff. This stuff is important, and like it's a learning curve. It's definitely a learning curve, but it opens me up for possibilities. So yeah, I am going to go full force in this. My birthday is in late June. If I can get everything set up by then and people and recruit and all that kind of stuff, then it should be officially live then. So yeah, I think I could be really happy about it. But yeah, if you are interested, you can always leave a comment about it below, and I'll answer questions about what's going on. And yeah, like, talk to me. But yeah, I just knew that I wanted to start it, and I knew that I needed to put things together because it's like putting things together is just like, I think that's harder than like the other stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. I feel like this was like a ramble type thing, but it's at the very beginning stages of being built, and I got like 3-ish months to like build it. That's my goal. All right, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.